so it is thus not the command, but the promise, which puts the hard issue to Israel. And so we see these promises here. We see in Genesis chapter 12, verse 4, and Abraham departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him, and Abraham was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. So the consequence of this era reflects in the life of Abraham and that of his children. Lot became Abraham's first problem. They argued over land. That's what happens. We see that in Genesis 13 and verse 7. And there was strife between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdsmen of Lot's cattle, and the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelt then in the land. The foregoing apart, God did not bless Abraham until he separated from Lot. And the same goes for your life. We see in Genesis chapter 13, verses 14 through 16, and the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up thine eyes and look from the place. Notice now, only when he separates, and God now starts speaking to him again. Now he's dealing with separation because he has to separate. Whenever God starts talking about land in Bible, he's talking about your purpose, your destiny, your life, and where he is leading you. Look to the north, the south, the east, and the west. Why? Because I'm dividing. I'm separating. I'm putting things in place. That's why when you buy land, it's so important. That's why every time I do get land, I sow $1,000 seed, because $1,000 seed is connected to land. But I want God to deal with land, not only physical land, but my flesh comes from out of land. Ash to ash, dust to dust. I sow $1,000 seed, but I want God to deal with some issues in my life. Because it's the land, and I need God to separate. Yes, and I need God to start working with my land. Yes, not the land of my mind, the garden of my mind. When I'm struggling in my mind, because my mind is a garden, I sow a seed of 1,000. Here, God, work with my mind. Work with this situation that's troubling my mind. It's troubling my earth. It's troubling my flesh, God. And so it reads in chapter 13, verse 14, 16, and the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up thine eyes and look from the place where thou art northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Yet there were still further consequences to Abraham's offspring as regards to this era. The Moabites and the Ammonites were descendants of Lot. They were descendants of Lot. For the Bible declares in Genesis chapter 19, verses 30. And Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountain, and his 2 daughters with him. For he feared and dwelt in Zoar, and he dwelt in a cave, he and his 2 daughters. And the firstborn said unto the younger, our father is old, and there is not a man that is in the earth. There is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth. What were their husbands? Their husbands were gone. The husbands was also into homosexuality. There was a lot of stuff going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. Men sleeping with men, women sleeping with... There was a whole lot of stuff. Prostitution. There was a whole lot of common stuff. But Lot chose the land that looked better. Because something doesn't look better, don't mean it's always good. Because it can look good, but it may not be faring well. It may look good, but it may not be meant for you. Because someone is good to you, don't mean they're good for you, beloved. So you must be wise in whom you put in your life. And so we see, and the first was said unto the young, our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve seed for our father. Now, they're getting into incest. And verse 33 says, and they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father, and he perceived not when she lay with him, nor when she arose. Verse 34, and it came to pass on the morrow that the firstborn said unto the younger, behold, I lay yesternight with my father. Now you go lay with him. You go sleep with him. You go have sex. I got him last night. Now it's your turn. Come on now. And let us make him drink wine this night also. And go thou in and lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night also. And the younger arose and lay with him, and he perceived not when she lay down, nor she arose. Now get that. Now he drunk and still functioning. That is that brother. He is still functioning and in a drunken state. There thus were both of the daughters of Lot with child by their father. And the firstborn bare a son, and called his name Moab. The same is the father of the Moabites unto this day. And the younger daughter, she also bare a son, and called his name Benoni. The same is the father of the children of Ammon unto this day. Now this is amazing, because you be very watchful when you and what and who you align with, because you will produce an evil seed that is far more evil than you in your evil act. So the Moabites and the Ammonites, however, became the main enemies of the children of Israel. If Abram would have never brought Lot with him when God gave him command, you probably would have never had these Moabites and these Ammonites. Hear me, beloved. When you bring people in your life that is not in the will of God, you are creating and producing future hardship and future enemies in your life that will fight against your family, that will fight against your bloodline, because you brought an enemy with you on your journey. It is crucial to whom you watch, whom you have around you, because if you do, you will miss out on the 7 blessings of Abraham. 2 Chronicles chapter 20 and verse 1 says, 20 verse 1, 2 Chronicles 20 verse, and it came to pass after this also, that the children of Moab and the children of Ammon, now look at this here, and with them other, beside the Ammonites, came also against Jehoshaphat to battle. Abraham sought to help Lot by taking him along with him. Lot, however, represented the faulty foundation of God, was trying to separate Abraham from. You got it? As a result, Lot became, come on now, a problem to Abraham, and his children became a problem to Abraham's children. Is this making sense today? Also, Abraham went into Hagar, Sarah's servant, despite God's promise concerning Isaac. So now you got Sarah acting as a madam, a pimp, with her manly self, with her bossy self. Women, don't be bossy to your husband. Learn to be quiet and stay in prayer. Learn to submit. Learn to work with your feminine gifts that God has given you. Don't be so bossy. Don't be so controlling. Learn to go into prayer and seek the presence of the Lord. Because you could very well be creating another woman to take your place. That's for some woman on this line. Don't be bossy. Don't run your mouth, because you might be creating a Hagar that will come and sleep with your man. Learn to work with what God has gave you, and learn to get into prayer, because prayer can keep him, but your mouth can't. And the other parts of you can't keep him either, so you got to turn them over unto the Lord and stay in prayer. And your cooking sure enough won't keep him, because somebody else can cook just as good as you. You got to turn that man over unto the Lord. You got to turn the whole relationship, the whole marriage over to God. This is all in your hands. I can't make him, I can't keep him, but you can keep him. I can do my part. Now, God, you do your part. So, sister, madam, Sarah, don't believe the promise of God. You go sleep with my handmaid because I'm too old. Came back to bite her in the end. So Abraham went into Hagar, Sarah's servant, despite God's promise concerning Isaac. When God told him that he would bless Isaac, bless Abraham. Isaac, Abraham reminded him of Ishmael, requesting that God should bless him. So we see in Genesis 17, verses 5 through 18, and God said unto Abram, as for Sarai, thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her, and I will give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Then Abraham fell on his face and laughed, and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? And Abraham said unto God, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. Now Ishmael, however, was partially from a faulty foundation, his mother being a bondwoman. The consequences of this is that the Arabs today, being the descendants of Ishmael, Hagar's son, are today the main headache of the children of Israel. I'm telling you, your sins will travel into generations and torment your children's hundreds of years later. Let's look at the life of David. Now, I didn't even get into what I want to talk about yet, because God has took us into another direction. Ikatalala rabasata la rabasata. Ikatalala rabasata la rabasata dilila rabasata. Ikabada sata la rabasata dilina morobo sokorobo siti la rabasata. Hey, God help us, God help us, God help us, God help us, God help us. Help us to stay in your will. Help us keep our eyes on you.